Okay, welcome everyone to the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's March 26th at about 7 o'clock here in Town Hall. Our chairman, Mr. O'Haney, is not here, so I will be taking over tonight. We have a somewhat busy public hearing and then a somewhat quiet general meeting. So let's get right into it. Our first application is a land filling and regrading application number 565. PL-24-20, Ian and Catherine Cameron of 105 Leeuwarden Road. And it is a proposal to construct a new two-story addition to the west side of the existing single-family residence, construct a new terrace, detached garage and shed, and reconfigured driveway area, and perform related site development activities, including the regrading of the property and installation of stormwater management. The 1.07 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the west side of Leeuwarden Road, approximately 360 feet southwest of the intersection of Old Road, and is shown on Assessor's map number 29, lot 125 in the R1/2 residential zone. So, Fred, Jeremy, what do we have for this one? Take it away.
Picked up from this location, or should I go up to the podium?
Okay.
This application was submitted under section 850 of the Marianne zoning regulations under the land filling and regrading regulations. The application was referred out to Joe Canis of Ty and Bond. Joe submitted comments for the record dated March 4th. The applicant, Harry Rocheville, submitted a response to Mr. Canis' comments on March 18th. And Mr. Canis then issued a second memo on March 21st endorsing the project, noting that all of his comments have been addressed to his satisfaction. Harry Rocheville, the applicant, to present the application and answer any questions you may have.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks, Fred. For the record, Harry Rocheville, professional engineer in the state of Connecticut, Court Engineering Association, Wilton, represented the applicants, Ian and Catherine Cameron. The lot is 105 Leeuwarden Road, located on the west side of Leeuwarden Road. It's approximately 1.07 acres. It's currently developed with a single-family residence, portion driveway with a drive-under garage, and an existing composite deck to the rear of the residence. It's currently served by town sewer and water services. Topography of the site generally consists of slopes that drain west towards the back of the property. As I mentioned, the garage is drive under, so there is a retaining wall situated here that creates a low spot there where there is currently a driveway drain that is running to an existing underground retention system. There's also a couple of yard drains on the south side of the property here, where there's other low spots between the residence and the southern property line. Those yard drains discharge to daylight approximately here. You'll see that on our proposed plan. All of those structures and drainage runs will be impacted by our proposed development, so we will be proposing a brand new stormwater management plan to not only control the existing conditions, but also our proposed improvements. Here you see our proposed site development plan. The proposed project consists of constructing an addition to the rear of the residence, a detached garage structure here, a hardscape patio off of the back of the residence, and an endless pool with its own patio here. There will be some driveway improvements to improve the runoff in the driveway, as well as provide access to the new detached garage. As I mentioned, all the existing drainage detention structures will be removed. They're currently located under this detached garage here. We're proposing 2 new detention systems. The reason for that is due to the elevation of that driveway with the driveway garage. The only way we could grab the detention system would be to the rear of the property. So we have one system back here that's essentially for all the driveway runoff, one system up in the middle of the property for all of detention system will overflow to this detention system. And then this detention system is designed to overflow with raze and grade in 2 different locations. From a sheet flow through approximately 75 feet of woodland before it reaches the neighboring property. As I mentioned, the overflow for the existing detention system is generally in the same location, and that is just a pipe outlet today. Also, as I mentioned, which you can see on the previous plan, for the yard drain on the south side of the house, there's a daylight outlet here. Those will be removed. We'll install a new yard drain over there, conveyed to our detention system, so everything will be all captured and conveyed to those detention systems in our overflow structures. As Fred mentioned, we received private positive endorsement from Joe Canis upon review of our plan and our report. The detention systems and stormwater management plan controls up to a 50-year storm, consistent with the town drainage policy, and also provides water quality volume for all of the impervious surfaces we are capturing and conveying to them. Also for the addition, we're proposing a new footing drain, discharge daylight here via gravity. Currently, there's 2 sump pumps for the basement that discharge to those yard drains that I mentioned to be removed. Those will all be rerouted to our new drainage pipes, and one will be attached to the gravity footing drain as it's located on this side of the house. The other will be tied in to the detention system up here as it's located where the hardscape is. The reason we are here for the permit is because the detached garage and the proposed addition and hardscape require earthwork within 15 feet of the property line, and also a volume of greater than 50 cubic yards. We are proposing a short retaining wall here off of the detached garage to minimize the earthwork in that side property line. So it is within 15 feet of the property line, but we are not changing any drainage patterns or grading beyond that retaining wall. So drainage patterns on that property line will remain the same. Same thing on the southern property line here. We're just removing existing yard drains and installing a new one. Very minor grading there to promote runoff to that new yard drain. And then for the addition and the patio to create a transition from the first floor down to the hardscape and then down again to the rear yard. Some filling is required for that, as well as creating a level area for the pool and minor filling for our detention system above restricted layers that we encountered while soil testing. Our detention system is installed well above those restricted layers, and we did percolation tests per Joe's recommendations and confirmed suitable conditions for both drainage locations. The amount of fill in that backyard is approximately 350 cubic yards. It does not change drainage patterns at all. You'll see here the runoff will still flow this way through the backyard. It does not divert it towards any of the abutting property owners. So all the earthwork and within 15 feet of the property line and for the volume that we're proposing will not change the drainage patterns for any abutting properties or for any adverse impacts for the abutting properties. For that earthwork, we're proposing erosion controls to protect the property during construction as well. We have silt fence surrounding the entire envelope of construction shown here. That will remain in place until the dedicated cover is restored. Following construction, it will be installed before any construction activity takes place. That is a summary of the application. I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission has.
Before I get started, Fred, I want to see Joe's response to Harry's answer. I see his answer in the revised notes in the document. I don't see Joe anything after March 4th of the application.
I have a copy here, but
So I just want to make sure we have it for the record. What's the date on it there?
March 21st.
Yeah, Joe Canis issued a memo dated March 21st. He notes that all outstanding comments have been addressed and no further information is requested.
As long as we have this.
Yeah.
I don't see it in the record. That's fine.
It should be in there, maybe hidden somehow.
Yeah, I can see it. We have a copy of it. It's pretty straightforward. You're not planning to bring in or take out any fill, are you?
Now, we anticipate
Spread thin?
that the material excavated for the foundation will be used for that.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify that. Okay. Otherwise, do we want to see a maintenance plan for the drainage system? You do have a number of covers, but I don't see a maintenance plan attached here.
There's one included in the appendix to our drainage report.
There it is.
I think it should be appendix C or D. Oh, yeah, appendix C in our drainage report.
I have one question for you. I noticed we're in the process of drafting accessory dwelling unit regulations, and I noticed that this building here, your detached garage, has a bonus room, a bedroom, a bathroom, and it meets the accessory dwelling setback requirements, but it doesn't meet the main accessory dwelling setback requirements, which is totally fine. But in the future, I don't know if you were aware of the proposed accessory dwelling unit regulations, that this would, in this scenario, if they were to pass, this would not qualify, this detached garage would not qualify as a future accessory dwelling unit. So I just wanted to bring your attention to that and kind of make it out part of the record. And just to make sure you're okay with that. Okay.
Yeah, it was never intended to be a
Okay,
accessory dwelling.
great. I just wanted to make sure you were aware that that's kind of in the mix right now.
Yes.
And now would be the time to make amendments if that's something that was important to you down there.
I'm not the owner.
Okay. Well, you're not the owner, I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm the architect.
Okay.
George?
I'm fine.
Thank you. Mike?
Just the new yard drains, those are the outlets to grade?
The ones that are at the detention system.
Yes.
Yep, and we also provided inspection boards atop the detention systems as well.
And then is there any consequence to that parcel I? You got a parcel B and a parcel I.
The lots are actually combined. We submitted our latest site development plan to fix that. The earlier ones did have a separate property line that they were recently combined. That's also reflected on the zoning.
Okay, I don't have any further questions. I'll open this up to the general public. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak to this application? Seeing none? Okay, I don't think we need to keep this one open any longer. Is there a motion to close this application? David makes a motion. Amy makes a second. All those in favor? 5-0. Application closed. We'll maybe deliberate tonight, maybe next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Give me a second. Okay, moving right along. Our next application is a land filling and regrading application number 564, PL-24-21, 9 Shady Acres, LLC of 9 Shady Acres Road. This is a proposal to raise existing residents and construct a new 6,000 plus or minus square foot single family dwelling. construct a new pool, patio, driveway, and parking court, retaining walls, and perform related site development activities, including a regrading of the property, construction of new septic, and the installation of stormwater management. The 2.09 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the west side of Shady Acres Road, approximately 650 feet south of its intersection with Marianne Road, and is shown on Assessor's map number 4 as lot number 9, and is located in the R2 residential zone. So, Fred, what do we got?
This application was also submitted under section 850 of the Darien zoning regulations, under land filling regrading regulations. The property is within 500 feet of the city of Norwalk, so it was referred out to the city of Norwalk as well as Westcog. Norwalk did not submit any comments for the record. Westcog submitted an email dated March 15th, which states, "Thank you for submitting the attached referral to Westcog. The opinion of Westcog staff is that the proposal is of local interest with minimal intermunicipal impact, therefore is not being forwarded to adjacent municipalities, and the regional staff is making no comment." The application was also referred out to Joe Canis of Ty and Bond. Joe submitted comments for the record dated March 4th. The applicant responded to those comments. Soundview Engineering responded on March 11th to Joe's original comments. And then Joe issued a second memo on March 20th with additional comments that still need to be addressed. Up to this point, the applicant has not addressed those open comments. The Health Department also commented on the application on February 26th, noting that the septic system on the site would need to be located and crushed as part of the proposal, since it will be connected to since a new septic system is proposed as part of this project. Mr. Nick DeMayo of DeMayo Design Group is the applicant's representative, and he's here to present the application and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you. Nick DeMayo, DeMayo Design Group. I'm the architect for the project. We also have Bob from Soundview Engineering. I'm going to give a brief summary and then Bob can answer any of your questions. And just to address Fred's comments about the second round of review that we received from Joe. We received those pretty recently, a couple days ago, so we absolutely will be addressing those comments. And Bob can speak to a few if any of our top concerns. So the existing property contains 11,336 square feet, which is composed of 2 buildings and a driveway of impervious surfaces. And the proposal will increase that to 13,853 square feet, which is an increase of 2,517 square feet. The property, and keep in mind there's no retention in place now. So despite that increase, we are proposing a new system to deal with that. So the property collects the surface stormwater within 3 separate watershed areas. They discharge stormwater to 3 main points of concern. One is to the north, one to the south, and one to the street. For all 3 points of concern, there will be no increase in stormwater runoff rate or volume leaving the subject property. The stormwater will be retained and stored underground on site in generally 3 to 4 feet of clean fill being brought into the site and spread in the front and sides of the proposed house. For the northerly area alone, under the driveway back out, we are proposing 20 concrete galleries, 3 feet deep, 8 feet by 4 feet, and 12 Pultec chambers, 2.5 feet deep by 8 feet long by 4.3 feet wide, all surrounded in gravel. This is a significant amount of storage being provided on site. There is also more underground storage provided in the south courtyard and easterly areas. There will be no adverse effects to the northerly ponding area from the proposed development. Thank you, and we'll open it up to questions, and I have Bob from Sound Engineering.
Okay, you want to walk through, do you want to give an overview of the project?
So the existing, the property smart like, sound engineers, sound engineers prepare plans. Currently, there's two quite large buildings on the lot right now that currently discharge to that northerly wetland where the water does pond. And I've been out to the site probably 4 times, and after severe rains, and the water does not come onto our property. It ponds within this area, but it gets close to our property line, but does not come on our property. So we're not going to displace any water from the development of our lot. So we're pretty confident that it's not going to affect that ponding that is currently occurring to the north. So we're building a new structure that is being filled in the front and to each side, but not really too much in the rear. So there's multiple systems that combat the increase in runoff to the 3 main points of concern. The northerly point is here, the southerly point is over here, and the easterly point is to the road. So we feel we've taken care of it. It's been reviewed, and the comments left in the review are not significant in my opinion. We should be able to address them very easily. I think there's only maybe 3 left.
It's just a handful of
It's
comments.
very, very small comments.
I think the main one, from my understanding, is just related to the Fresh Meadow approach, because you
Well, we
always...
did make that change. He was just pointing out that part of the driveway wasn't converted to Fresh Meadow. That's all that was. In the calculation, we looked at the analysis.
Does that change the calculation?
It's not going to change the plan.
It's such a big lot.
It's just the numbers.
And which bulk set of plans has the zoning box on it for the proposed and the current coverage? I think you're well under 20.
I have that here. So we have, this is the A2 survey, and we have, so we're going from 5.73% coverage to 6.29% coverage.
And then the only real question, because it's an R2 zone, your maximum building height is very close to the 30. I get, you put in if you just walk through, I know underneath the zoning box you've got how you sort of got to that number, but I just want to make sure because you're right there. If you're, when you're building it, this could end up being just slightly over it. I don't want that to hold up the CO.
Right.
Because you're just so right at, you're not even a half foot of you're like 2 inches away from it.
And I'd like to add on to that one of the things that jumped out at me, the 2 probably largest outstanding items from Joe's list. One of them was his recommendation that you might need to elevate, it might make sense to elevate this house because of its proximity to the groundwater level. And I imagine that might be one of the reasons why you don't want to do it, because then it would require a redesign, because you're right there on the height. So I'd love to, I don't know if it's appropriate for your comments to be wrapped up in that, but that's also in my mind. So
Yeah, I can address
the
that.
perspective of your audience has that concern.
Yes. So one of the driving factors behind that is we're trying to keep the basement elevation only a foot below what is the current crawl space elevation of the existing homes, because that was dry, and, you know, being that there's a lot of groundwater present on site, you know, we definitely don't want to dig too far down there and also like have to pump water out and stuff. So essentially, being that under the current house right now is only a crawl space, you know, that brings us out of the ground by 3 or 4 feet. And taking our, taking the average grade from, you know, we only get to add 1 foot from the existing average grade. So that really limits the height of the building, as it, you know, in terms of if we were to do this more conventionally and just go down with a normal basement, we would probably have an extra 3 feet to work with up top. So it's really just trying to balance the client's desires for, you know, interior ceiling height on the first and second floor, because we don't have any third floor space. It's just an unfinished attic, and the basement is all unfinished as well. So we are really just trying to maximize the first and second floor heights. And like I said, being that...
What are they proposed at?
What's that?
What are they proposed to be?
The first floor is 9.9, and the second floor is 9 feet.
It doesn't sound good.
So, you know, like I said, trying to hold close to that current slab of the crawl space, trying to hold close to that is causing us to lift the house out of the ground quite a few feet, which is getting us much closer to height restriction than I think would normally be the case if we could go deeper.
Yeah.
So that's sort of driving that.
We've seen applications that have been flagged that there's issues with water, they go ahead, and then they come back and say, oh, oops, we now need to redesign this. And it just seems like there's very little wiggle room on if you had to redesign it, so, for site conditions.
Are you putting substance? Is basically design flood?
It will make some sense. Because there's some pump system too, we would fill outside and front.
Are you doing external pumps or internal?
It's shown as external. Yeah.
So basically you're building a swimming pool, putting the house inside?
Sort of.
Yeah.
You have a generator? You have a generator?
Yeah, there's, I think the mechanicals are proposed, right
Outside. And I see just the pad, I would actually generator. Okay. I mean, just so just be aware, it's very close to the max.
We've discussed, the client and I have discussed changing some of the roof pitches to make up a little bit more space up there, because, you know, I did, you know, we had many conversations and we know we're pushing it, and I'm trying to back off a little bit. So hopefully bringing some of the roof pitches down and the pitch of the main ridge will get us another, yeah, maybe even as much as a foot, I hope. But at least 6 to 8 inches, because like I said, we're not using that attic for any type of finished space. We just want, you know, a little bit of storage up there, so we can cut down on the height in there.
Yeah, that's just a concern, like when you're building it, you know, you got an inch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Yeah, we got 2 inches.
it's
Yeah.
not a lot of room, you know, the ground can shift by an inch or so depending on how much you pack it or not. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Amy, do you have anything?
Yeah, the other thing that jumped out at me is that's still outstanding is the issue around the tree. That the proposed retaining wall on the south side will likely be in the critical root zones, and these trees would likely need to be removed. It didn't sound like it landed the plane on his comments on that. Is there any additional comments you'd like to make at this time on that?
Our response to that was to put the tree wells around it, as you can see it. I mean, we can make them larger if you want.
I think what Joe was saying, though, that it's not impossible with development here.
I think it triggers the fact that it's in the 50-foot upland review area. It's triggering that process. From what I can, I mean, I think he's calling that out.
I have two major concerns. I think one, Amy's brought up, which is the issue of the trees. And I don't see, Joe Kansas' report basically says, which is what I read in the drainage report, you're comparing existing to proposed, and that's not fresh metal.
No, that was changed. In the revision, it changed it.
I don't see that.
And-
What's the date of that report?
I think it's revised March 11th. The drainage increased 50% because of that.
March 11th, the drainage report. You uploaded that, Nick?
I believe, yeah.
Just comments.
I just see comments.
I should have should have been uploaded.
So we'll need to verify that that's okay.
Yeah,
He's just saying in the review of the revision that part of the new driveway wasn't taken as fresh metal, and that's a small percentage.
No, his first comments were that it was not taken into account at all.
Yeah, correct.
And I'm sorry, you're saying your response was when? Because we're looking at his comments as of March 20th.
Yeah, the response was comments on March 11th.
That he's still saying more information is needed.
Correct.
And maybe we're just a step behind on the information.
But a new set of plans was not submitted, correct?
I submitted the
This
new
is-
set. Yeah, should be up there.
I don't see it.
Okay. So you can just make sure it's all uploaded?
Sure,
We-
yeah.
no, we're going to need to cross that T and dot that I. If that's
Because we
okay.
certainly have the hard copy.
That's the one.
Nick, can you verify the date of the revised plan that was uploaded?
Yeah.
I see new plan sets. So we want some new.
Some new comments. March 19th. Although those are plans.
Yeah, these that are drainage, correct.
The plans are dated, revised plans are dated March 11th as well. Should be 5 sheets, Bob?
Yeah, the report should be, say, revised.
Yep. The report and the plans are dated March 11th. The plans are 5 sheets.
Joe's comments from the 20th seem to have still a concern about this.
Yeah.
That more information is needed is what he's saying.
Joe would have reviewed those revised plans dated March 11th and your narrative response to those as well.
It still raises the same issue.
Yeah.
So, the applicant needs to sit down with Joe.
I think we
Sort that out.
need to tie in with Joe on.
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to close this.
Yeah.
And I had one other question, which was, you mentioned the wetlands to the north would not encroach upon this property, but will we be sending any water into those wetlands?
Not an increase, no. No increase. It's a reduction.
Based on fresh meadow, or based
Yes.
on credits
Correct.
for
Yeah.
impervious surfaces?
Yeah.
Yes, which one? Fresh meadow?
Fresh
Like-
metal.
Okay, so that's an important.
The cost of the drainage increased 50% with that change.
George, do you have any additional? No. Okay, yeah, so I think we're going to keep this one open. Oh, yeah, sorry. Since this is a public hearing, is there anyone in the public who would like to speak to this application? Please, come up, state your name. Can you just walk around the center aisle? They've asked me to request people to do that. Welcome. Hello.
Hello, my name is John Blair. I live on 17 Marianne Road, which is the adjacent property on Marianne to 9 Shady Acres. The pond that you're referring to is it's a problem for my property. I think if you would go to 9 Shady Acres, it might not seem so much, but for my property, it gets very, very wet. It overflows. Whenever it rains, it gets overflowed, and a lot of water spills onto my property in my backyard, and it's a problem. There's nothing I can really do about it because it's wetlands. So I don't know what I can do about it. But I'm concerned that if you were to build a large raised property adjacent to that pond, it's almost impossible to think that there's not going to be more runoff onto my property. I mean, if you were to go to it right now and look at it from my backyard, you're going to see just a massive pond that is that's cumbersome to my property. So I'm very concerned that it could get worse. I know that there's details they tell them about how they have plans to address that, but I also feel like once the project starts, you don't really know what's going to happen to the water. You might have a plan for it, but then it doesn't come to fruition, and I'm dealt with the ramifications of that. And so if you were to come and look at my backyard, I have a legitimate concern here. I want them to be able to build a beautiful home and live there. That sounds great. I just don't want it to be a problem for my property, which it already is. I don't want it to be more of a problem. I do think I have a legitimate concern.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if you can,
Sorry.
So just to address his question, so the current, even though it's got to be based off Fresh Meadow, the current property, does it have any retention systems in it at all?
No.
Now, so there's
And
no,
there's not a low spot on our property. We're higher. There's no pocket, so we're not displacing water by the village.
right, so,
And we're offset enough that we're not going to affect it, even if those properties were to be, were to worsen, right?
right,
So
so,
we're offset enough.
so the current existing conditions now are just essentially just draining out into the yard.
I would say, going through the maps and over the years, over the last 20 years, there's been some, I don't know the numbers, but there's at least 3 properties there that have been developed that have certainly aggravated that condition.
Okay.
For sure.
But this property now, in its current state, doesn't have any retention at all.
No.
And you guys are proposing a significant amount,
Correct.
regardless of the Fresh Meadow or not Fresh Meadow approach.
Yeah.
And so, and as you mentioned, the property itself, what's the elevation at the property boundary to the north?
Yeah, if you could take us through the elevation
Looks like
change.
it's,
About 193 at the low spot, and finished floor for us will be 200.4. And the general grading is just in between that.
So it is pitching towards that water, towards that pond? You are.
Yeah, as it does now, as it does now, yeah.
That does it.
Right now it does. And the discharge from the rooftop of the 2 buildings discharge to the north almost entirely. So we're reducing the flows by, I think it's 4 or 5%. It's quite a bit.
What's that red bar that's right there?
It's a septic. Right here?
No.
the one by the wetlands, the one closer to the wetlands.
This one?
Yeah.
That's an overflow level spreader in case these systems fill up.
So if the systems fill up, that's where you're going to discharge the overflow?
Yeah, because it maintains the status quo of how much is going to the north. We have to keep the same direction of flow to the north as it is now, but we're retaining a significant amount of water.
Sounds like there might be a question for Joe, just to verify his opinion on that.
It's pretty much the way you have to do it.
I uploaded that on March 18th. Okay, great.
Okay. All right, is there anyone else in the general public who would like to speak to this application? Sir, please come up, state your name.
Hi, I'm Joe Pecklewill. I'm going to be the builder of the property in question right now, 9 Shady Acres. Concerning the height of the building, if it does become somewhat slim, or it is down to 1-2 inches, how we've addressed this in the past has been we can submit elevation heights for the first floor deck, second floor deck, third floor deck before putting on the roof, so that if it is a tight situation, that we can satisfy your concerns as far as we're hitting every single point that's there, so that the building won't be constructed all of a sudden. You get the total building height, oops, they missed on the first floor, they missed on the decking, they missed on whatever.
Do we, for staff, do we want to think about having that as a condition of approval? I've never seen that, or would that be covered by the building permit?
In a case such as this, we would have the foundation installed and the foundation as built, which would ensure that the foundation is not too high. And that should get you most of the way there. If the foundation turns out to be, would you agree?
Oh, yeah, by all means. I'm just saying, if you want to put another layer of protection on it, Jeremy, shoot it at the elevation, shoot it at deck, second deck, and third deck.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just, we don't want you to go all the way to the end and then have it, have to do
Nobody wants to, and it's simple enough to just shoot those elevations, send them to the town to make sure that we are spot on with everything. If it comes down to that 1 to 2 inch margin that's there, I'd be more than happy to do that, too.
Okay. I think we can work something out with that. Great, thank you. Is there anyone else in the general public that would like to speak to this? Seeing none. Okay, so we will hold this open and wait for Joe's additional comments.
I would, to keep this moving along, I would say we can do it at our what would be 2 weeks from tonight, April 9th. No sense having them wait a whole month.
Right.
I believe that we can get this moving along pretty quickly. And then, so if you were to continue it to Tuesday, April 9th, 7 p.m. in room 119 of Town Hall.
Okay, so we will see you in 2 weeks.
Great.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And just Jeremy, in addition to the outstanding items that Joe has in his letter, I would like to have him weigh particularly about where he believes the northern runoff. Sure. He takes a closer look at that, that's going towards that, because I do know what you're speaking of. Sure. Yes.
Okay. Moving along to our third application. It's a land filling and regrading application number 563, PL 24-14. Matthew and Kristi Walsh, 29 Highview Road. This is a proposal to regrade the rear yard and to create a more level lawn area and perform related site development activities within a regulated area, including the removal of the tennis court, installation of stormwater management, and abandonment of the existing septic system. The 1.73 plus or minus acre subject property is located at the southwestern terminus of Highview Road, approximately 850 feet south of its intersection with Shady Acres Road, and is shown on Assessor's map number 4 as lot 52-A in the R1 residential zone. Fred, what do we have?
This application was submitted under section 850 of the Deliberations zoning regulations under land filling regrading regulations. The application was referred out to Joe Canis. Joe submitted comments for the record on February 29th endorsing the project. It was also referred out to the health department, and the health department has approved the septic plan for the site as of February 20th. We have Wayne Devonzo here this evening of Fairfield County Engineering to present the application and answer any questions.
Wayne, Nick, welcome.
Hi, thank you. For the record, Wayne Devonzo, Fairfield County Engineering. Just waiting for this side. Yes, so this proposal is to replace the existing septic system with a new septic system on the south end, to the right, on the property. That is for the existing six-bedroom residence. The existing tennis court will also be removed, and the property level, the backyard level, to dovetail into the required grading of the new septic system. To create a more useful rear yard. The net runoff is reduced for the 200-300-year storms by virtue of removing the tennis court, and we are even allowing for a future pool and pool patio in the future. In accounting for that, there is a 3,500 square foot reduction in impervious surface. So all of the 200-300-year storms are reduced by virtue of that. And we're not taking the grading pattern of the property. The grading patterns remain the same. It is being built and leveled in certain areas. The contours and runoff pattern will remain the same. And we will be scraping off the topsoil and stockpiling that and using it in the process of regrading the property. This has been reviewed and approved by Joe Ness and Dennis and the health department. Take any questions?
My first one is you're planning to put the pool over the septic system that you're pulling out?
That's correct, yes, and the health department did include sort of a schedule of how that would be done. It would be abandoned, we left at least 3 weeks, and then when the pool goes in.
Okay, I just want to make sure the health department's aware.
Yes.
We saw another application where there was a pool over an abandoned septic, and they wanted the pool changed, and there was all kinds of stuff about the dirt staying in the ground. It was much closer to Long Island Sound, but I know it gets a little more complicated when you put it right over it versus next to it or off to the side of it. As long as you guys are aware of that. All right, that was my only real concern. Amy?
You know, I want to make sure my assumption is not off in that you're reducing the impervious surface by such a large amount. I would imagine that, because there's been no stormwater studies done yet, if they do want to do the pool in the future, I would imagine that would that trigger 1,000 square feet?
No, what Wayne is saying is he's designed the system to accommodate the pool under current regulations.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah, that's correct, yes, we've accounted for that pool, and that pool patio, I think 1,600 square foot patio, which likely would not be that big.
But I thought no stormwater management studies were done yet.
No, we did an analysis.
You did do an analysis?
Yes, we did, yes.
Okay.
Just no system to install
Because, but you did do the analysis and accounting for it. Got it. Okay, I misread that then. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
George?
All good? Thank you.
So the application is regrading new septic and future pattern?
Well, we accounted for the pool as far as the stormwater runoff goes, but it's not part of this. They're not seeking to install a pool right now.
They would, what they're,
Is that right?
well, here what they're doing is grading, making it flat. Plus, if they came back in the future, they wouldn't have any regrading presumably for the pool.
So no application is necessary.
Is there anyone from the general public that would like to speak? Okay, we've got some people. Ma'am, would you like to come up first? Sure. Welcome, state your name, and once you get up there.
Julie Forrester, Alexander, 50 Birch Road.
Hello.
This is the second time that we are going to be going through a massive flooding. It happened in 2002 when property number 29 and 27 were one property, and 27 was taken off about a no drainage was put in when that was first done. And on Mother's Day of 2003, Birch Road was under a foot of water. Fire department had come, all the yard was flooded, but this had gone on for weeks. Well, we're starting to have the same thing happen for this slightly differently. It's, we had put in all kinds of drainage in the town, put in at the street level, some drains for us to go into. The water is coming down both sides of my property on the edges. And I right now have my tree man out today, excuse me, Larry Brown, and he says we're probably losing at least redwood tree, a dogwood, a bunch of andromedas, and several clematis because they were standing in water and have been standing in water. Well, it actually started in the winter. The property was literally clear cut. The entire, there's part of the tree left anywhere on the acre place. And I know they said they were going to cut through it. So I thought, well, that would be nice for a nice family, and that would be done. But it didn't get done. And so this disruption of all the land sat that way, and then the snow came, and the ice came. And what comes pouring down each side isn't just water, but it's like a slurry. And with it comes gravel, leaves, whatever. And this is on both sides of the yard. My gardener tried to take a small little cart to do some tick work the other day. It sank 6 inches into the ground. And this is on the side of the hill. Now my neighbors are here, they have pictures. I have some pictures. I have no objections to anything they're doing under there, except I want to see really good drainage, proven that it's there. Because the last time I was told that it had been recorded under deeds, and when I went to look, it had never been recorded. The builder had done nothing. And so we put a lien on the property, which caused him to have his buyer really quite upset. And he was forced then to put money into escrow and to pay for some of the damage. We had quite a bit of damage. And he paid for that, and money in escrow had stayed for a year. And we had no other issues. So the money went back to his interest, and it was not a problem. But this is the reiteration of something similar. And I just am here because I think the drainage is truly an issue. And I know that you said leveling and it makes no difference. It's a huge difference. If you have a drone and you look down on the top of the property, you go right up to it, you go over the hill and down, you end up on Maywood, and I don't know if any of you drove on Maywood in the last 3 or 4 months. One lane was closed because the water pouring down on the other side turned into an ice skating rink on Maywood Road. And there are still barriers the town has put up, like sandbags along the edge of the road. This morning, the water on Birch Road crossed the yellow line from Germany. The sun came out, the wind didn't dry, and that dried out. But the minute I had a big limb in my tree in the front yard that twisted and blew out on Saturday night storm. Roundtree came today to repair it, and they really had to keep their equipment away because the water, the holes in the trees were this deep and they're full of water, and the whole walking on it is like walking on a sponge. So my request is not to stop what they're doing, but to really protect the property around it, because it is an issue no matter what somebody tells you, and you can certainly come and look. So thank you very much. I hope that you can take care of all of us.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the general public that would like to speak to this? So just state your name, and then afterward, if you give them the pictures, I guess, they can enter them into the record.
Samantha Gall, 46 Birch Road, Julie's neighbor. I'm downhill from this property on the south side, and Julie's just north of me here. So we do get all of the runoff from this property. On June 22nd, 2023, that's what my pictures reflect. This property did, as Julie said, completely clear cut. I'd like to go on the record and request that planning and zoning at some point consider some rules for tree removal. It feels rather short-sighted that we're not thinking about natural ways to curb flooding, because there's no question that the second all of these trees disappeared, and we're talking 30-plus trees, the water levels rose in our yard in all the ways that Julie's speaking about. 6 inches deep when you step down. It's pretty hard for my children to go out and play in our yard right now. So I submit these photos as evidence that this property has had a real impact on our house, and I'm requesting that we see a stormwater management study and understand exactly what has been studied and what the data is, because clearly there is more stormwater than ever flowing down from this property. And that dates from the June 22nd, 2023 tree removal. So I would hope that there is mitigation for that beyond what's going on here. I also did not realize the septic system and the pool system, and do have concerns about that, what that runoff looks like into my own personal property. And you can tell from the photos that, again, they are directly downhill from whatever leakage or drainage may result from any work done on this property. Thank you.
So there was a drainage analysis done that's been uploaded to the application. Wayne, could you just speak towards some of their concerns about drainage based on the analysis, and why no retention system is sort of proposed in this scenario?
Exactly. Yes, so we did do an analysis and it is the drainage report dated February 5th. Again, because of the large impervious surface that is being removed, the runoff rates volumes decrease for again, we're removing a net 3,500 square foot area. Again, that's even accounted for with the pool having the So,
what percentage of coverage is that? Ballpark?
it's about, existing is about 20%, and proposed will be about 17%.
No, 20% of what?
The total impervious coverage is 20% of the lot, uses the lot.
That's good for a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right.
There's,
It's a big lot.
there's about, currently there's 15,300 square feet of impervious surface, and proposed it's 12,000. I think that's roughly 17. The lot is 75,000 square feet.
Just a question.
That's all right, so you can't, you have to go into the building.
That's not zoning coverage, that's impervious coverage. It would be considered as zoning.
On your A2 survey, you have a zoning box. It's very hard to read. I didn't see one. Existing plus to proposed.
I think that's it.
have something about to want to say?
Wayne, who did the survey?
Ed Carroll, sure.
Is it in the record?
It's on the, yes, it's note on the plan.
What note number?
Number 4.
Okay, so Puro did a survey in September 2023.
That's correct.
Was that uploaded to the record?
Yes, it was, yes.
And that's a topographic survey?
Yes. Yes. That's the
Show existing. Great. You actually have a zoning text box on it. Let's see that on there.
You sure that's uploaded? Where's it was?
That one with you?
No, I don't.
Okay. So I think we're going to need that as part of the application. Right. Yeah.
You should make sure that an updated survey is included as part of the record, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll need to get that. So we're just closing the hearing tonight. Sir, you have to, additional comment, would you like to come up and speak to it? So we can't, I also don't see, Wayne, there's no planting, obviously, plan attached to this. For that, is there, there is no planting plan? Just want to verify that.
Yeah, no, my other question was...
Can you state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike Waltz at 46 Birch Road as well.
Well, thank you.
My only question was, and I think it might have been somewhat addressed, was if the survey contemplated the impact of removing a lot of these mature trees and their positive contribution to absorbing this water relative to the improvements of the drainage and removing the tennis court. It seems that it would be a little incongruous. Certainly there's a benefit of removing the tennis courts, but given that the trees were removed just a couple months prior to this survey being done, has that impact also been taken into consideration as part of the stormwater survey?
Correct. That is a joke. Thank you.
Thank you.
It doesn't look like they're supposed to site locate trees over what?
There are no separated communities on the property.
It's perfect.
There were.
Oh, there were 30 plus.
Sorry, yes.
Yes.
So we'll ask Joe to read that as well. So we need an updated survey.
Well, I apologize. Mr. Netter's question was, are they required to show large trees on the plan? Wayne Devanzo's plan dated November 10th, 2023. If you look carefully at the plan, they show 40-inch tulip, maple, no maple. There are a handful along the perimeter, especially on the heart. Wayne, this plan on the screen, when you submit additional information, can you add more to it?
There is no error on that. It's right, yeah, the road is pointing that way. You can see it's right small.
So it's on the north side.
Okay. All right, so we'll need an updated survey, so we want to keep this till, oh, is there any additional comments from the public before we move on? So we want to keep this one as well onto the 9th? Yes.
Commission will continue to Tuesday, April 9th, 7 p.m., room 119, Town Hall.
And then you guys gave him the pictures? that we can
I
put in the
love
record?
it here.
You can, since it's staying open, it'll be a public hearing, so if you want to just email them into town, we can put them in as part of the application as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you want the email for that?
We can get it. Okay, so thank you, so we will continue this until April 9th.
Thank you. Just to be clear, we need the survey and everything, correct?
Yep. And then we'll talk to Joe about any impact on it.
Okay.
Yeah, you may want to respond to that as well.
I'll take a look at it. Thank you.
April 9th?
It's
Yeah.
your call.
I just think I can go off of concern and just work on the answer.
On 2 applications.
Two applications. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay, continuing our public hearing now. Okay. We are going towards the land filling and regrading application number 566 PL-24-17, 18 Oakshade Avenue LLC, 18 Oakshade Avenue. This is a proposal to construct a new stone retaining wall and regrade the rear of the property to create a more level yard area and to perform related site development activities. The .14 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the west side of Oakshade Avenue, approximately 325 feet north of its intersection with Middlesex Road, and is shown on Assessor's map number 27 as lot 54 in the R13 residential zone. Fred, what do we got for 18 Oakshade?
This was submitted under section, or comes in compliance with section 850 of the Darien zoning regulations, under land filling and regrading regulations. The application was, again, referred out to Joe Canis of Comm Bond. Mr. Canis submitted comments for the record dated March 4th. The applicant responded to those comments in a letter dated March 11th, and then Mr. Canis issued a second memorandum endorsing the project, noting that his comments have been addressed on March 21st. We also note that several neighbor comments were received on this application in support of the proposal. Tonight, Matthew Doherty, the applicant's representative, is here to present the application and answer any questions you have.
Doherty, welcome.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Matthew Doherty. I'm an architect. I'm representing 18 Oakshade LLC. Our project that we're contemplating here is constructing a stone retaining wall along the western property line of the existing property, and then raising the grade behind that retaining wall approximately 4 feet, and to achieve a more level yard. And also, I think it also helps the downhill neighbors, because by building up our grade, we're reducing the pitch of the slope from Oakshade down to Sunnyside, and our feeling is that this is going to improve kind of the overall drainage, because we're slowing the stormwater that's moving from east to west. We have, I've shaded areas that we're looking to level out. Currently, it's a mix of lawn and some broken down existing stone walls, and we're going to be replacing that with lawn.
Are you getting rid of the garage?
The The existing garage is staying.
Staying.
So
You're not
the
raising
existing
it up.
house, existing garage are staying as is.
Do you need to raise the garage up to make it where it's
Um,
at? So is the fill mostly going in that bottom corner, or is it going?
Yeah, so the way that the garage is situated now, here is about elevation 99, and back here it's about elevation 95. So it slopes down like this. The back part of the entire garage is exposed foundation. So,
It's already pretty high there.
yeah. So essentially we're just
Filling in underneath it.
around that. Yeah.
Okay. And how many trucks of fill do you anticipate coming in for all this?
So I calculated about 5,500 cubic feet. So I don't know what that equates to in truckloads. But we have an existing driveway which we're going to utilize to fill and bring the trucks back down. I've included a little anti-tracking at the edge of the driveway, so as the trucks back up, they can dump. We have a stockpile area there. We're going to have silt fencing around the entire property. As we build the walls, then we'll readjust the fencing accordingly. So having the anti-tracking and then also utilizing the existing driveway, that will minimize the impact of any soil being brought out to the road.
What's a truck, 30?
Truck is 20 cubic, it's about 18 to 20 cubic yards. So I'm not an engineer, but I think you divide by fill cubic feet, cubic yards.
I thought I saw somewhere that it was 210 cubic.
Yeah, so it's 210 cubic yards.
Yards, I thought I saw.
So that's
10 to 11 trucks.
Yeah.
And then we did, as Fred noted, we did see positive comments submitted to the record from the neighbors, because it is reducing that slope from about 30% to 3-4%, right?
correct. So as I indicated on the site section, currently everything just slopes drastically downhill. By bringing this up, we're able to kind of just level things out, and by doing so, that will help any water that it collects to percolate back into the ground as opposed to running off quickly to the neighbors. And I think one of the neighbors who would be most impacted was one who wrote in favor of us, because as of right now, they don't have any protection.
And on that diagram, you have about 8 proposed trees, but I didn't see a planting plan. What are those going to be? Or just
Yeah, so just some evergreens, whether there's pines or green giants, just to add some screening.
since they're on the plan, there'll be requirements to planting.
Well, that's
Okay.
what we would like to do.
Okay. No, I think it's a pretty straightforward application. I think it's a pretty small lot as it is, so I think it will improve certainly everybody's life. So I'll open it up to questions from the commission. Amy?
I'm good.
George?
Thank you.
Is the garage completely non-conforming?
It does, it's been there a long time.
What do you think?
Okay. And Dick? Okay, so would anybody from the general public like to speak towards this application? Seeing none? Okay, we have a motion to close the application. Mike makes a motion. Amy makes a second. All those in favor? 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Application closed. We will deliberate maybe tonight, maybe next week. We'll see. Okay, moving along. On to our final application of the night. Flood damage prevention application number 440. Sullivan Reilly, 24 Cherry Street. Proposal to construct an addition and make alterations to and lift a portion of the existing single-family residence on the property, and to perform related site development activities within a regulated area. The .14 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the north side of Cherry Street at the northeastern corner formed by its intersection with Ash Street, and is shown on Assessor's map number 41 as lot 46 in the R1/5 residential zone. Right around the corner from here. Fred, Jeremy, what do we got?
Sure, this is a proposal to do a number of items. One is to lift the existing residence to comply with the flood regulations. They recently received a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals relative to setbacks, not relative to flood regulations. One of the items is to remove some living space that's now below the flood elevation, turn it into a garage to create more on-site parking. So that variance was granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals. As I said, they're going to do a number of things to lift the house, construct an addition to it, and Fred, you want to pick it up from there in terms of... They are, but it's, again, the house will be lifted and onto.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The proposal is to lift the house and to make interior renovations that would bring the property back into compliance with the 1969 ZBA approval that was issued for the property. The garage would remain at its current elevation. The rest of the house would be lifted 1 foot above the base elevation. As part of this proposal, the applicant submitted a survey showing the work that is going to be done. It was not referred out or reviewed by Joe Canis or our engineering department. We anticipate that review would occur at the building permit level relative to the lifting of the house and placement of flood vents.
The flood details.
Yeah.
There's actually a reduction in impervious surface as part of this.
Yep.
And we also got some FEMA comments. So we got
we didn't receive FEMA comments, but the applicant did submit a flood certification certifying that the proposed improvements would not result in impacts to the flood zone. Nick DeMayo from DeMayo Design Group is here this evening to present the application and answer your questions.
Thank you guys, round two. Thank you for the journey. For the record, Nick DeMayo, Design Group. Fred, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, it shows the proposed survey. That's the existing. Yeah, so as Fred and Jeremy were kind of briefing you, essentially the back, to the north here, if you're looking at the site plan, the back area of the home was sort of an illegal, almost ADU. It had a living room, a master bathroom, master bedroom, and closets back there. It was supposed to be a 2-car garage. So what we are proposing is to bring that back into compliance, but just do a single one-bay garage, and instead do an additional parking spot behind the garage, and then we are proposing the area that is hatched and in gray is the main cape, which was the original house before anything was added. So that is, we're proposing to lift that portion of the house along with the connector between the garage and the house. That's sort of an existing mudroom now. So the idea was to, remove the second garage bay, which is a master bath and master bedroom to the north, and, you know, gain, take away coverage from the lot, because we were way over coverage. So between that and there's a shed on the rear of the property that we're also proposing to remove. And so we are putting a small infill addition next to that existing mudroom between the garage and the main house, which you can see is in the light gray color on the site plan. So we would, all of that would be at elevation 19.2, which is 1 foot above the base flood elevation. So we would lift the original cape, we would lift the mudroom connection and add a little bit of additional square footage to that. And that is the sort of proposal in a nutshell. We have Brian, our structural engineer, here to answer any questions you might have regarding flood proofing or flood vents. We have all that detailed out on our structural and architectural drawings.
Thank you. My first question is, for the mechanical that's going to be proposed outside of the garage in front of the new parking spot,
Yep.
how high is that going to be raised? Is that going to sit on a pad? That's what the AC?
Right, that's that would be the AC condenser, and so that is going to be on a pad. That would be raised. Brian, do you know what that elevation would be, or?
You got to come up to that. It just says at or above the base flood elevation, plus 1 foot, but do you know how big the pad is? 3 feet, 10 feet.
So my name is Brian Dwyer, I'm a structural engineer.
Lovely.
So the pad, it's a pad, but it's a frame. And we're raising the frame so that the unit is plus 1 foot above base flood elevation. So it's going to be higher. There's a rigid frame.
Yeah. A wood frame?
Wood frame,
Yeah.
all pressure treated, and then that's sitting on a pad on the ground.
I see. So it's not a full concrete pad like
No.
an electrical transformer. It's going to be a driveway pad and then a box built on top, and then just sit on the box.
It's a pressure treated wood frame with a deck on it, and then the unit sits on that and it's rolled down.
Okay.
And that's above the base flood elevation.
And I assume there's requirements as to flood forces and whatnot. It's affixed to the pad.
Yeah, so FEMA requires to evaluate hydrostatic forces, which are lateral ones, buoyant forces, as well as impact. So if there's anything floating. So the entire structure, the extension around the unit, so the foundation extension, as well as all the accessory structures, such as the AC unit, is designed for those forces.
There's no generator here on this property.
There's no generator.
So you'd have to do the same thing. That's why I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my otherwise it's pretty straightforward. It's good that we're bringing the house into conformity with the setbacks for the ZBA variance and getting rid of the illegal building on it. So that's positive for sure. And so I think you mentioned this is the last house on the street that hasn't been raised. So it's not something we haven't seen before. So it'll help out obviously everybody's adjacent property. Amy, any questions?
I have one. Never mind. Never mind. Answer my own question. It was about the abutter letter. I was looking at your address on 9 Alpine, and I was confused, thinking that it was misloaded into the wrong file, but never mind. Okay, clear that out in my head. I'm good. Okay.
Sure.
Anything good?
No. Why not? Mike, what do you got?
There was a coverage variance?
Right now, under existing conditions, I think they were at 25.9. They're lifting and making a whole bunch of other changes, but they needed a variance. I think the new, did it get you down to 21, Nick? Was that what?
So Gary, it was actually, we were at almost 30% coverage, and now we're at about 25.
Right. But I think the ZBA balanced the fact that they're getting rid of the non-conforming living space below the flood elevation, the illegal finished space, getting rid of the shed, so the ZBA saw it as a big improvement overall.
And then how is so on the survey map, it says existing entrance to base, existing south entrance. Are you filling in the cellar? Because it's, on your plans, it's called a crawl space.
Yeah, it is a crawl space. So there's basically like a Bilco door in the back there where they have that called out.
Yep.
I think there's about, what would you say, Brian, about 3 feet or 3'6" currently in there.
It's more of an area.
Yeah,
And it's existing and we're not changing. So it's still access to the crawl space.
right.
Okay, so that's going to remain.
That will remain, yeah.
And then how does that work with, I mean, it looks like you've got 3 or 4 feet below grade. How does that work with flooding and releasing that pressure?
So we have 2 discharge locations in the structure. So we have the flood vents around the perimeter,
Right.
but then we also have the discharge in 2 corners of the building that'll discharge the remaining water that's in there.
Are those like sump pumps?
There's some pumps, yes.
Are they called out somewhere?
They're called out in the structural plan.
And they'll
I'm not
work
sure.
without a generator and storm potentially?
Excuse me?
Do you rely on those sump pumps to be working without a generator?
Without a generator.
Is that logical?
I don't know if there's a FEMA requirement for that, but that is something that.
And then do we care where there's a discharge?
Can you just explain to us where they'll be discharged to?
Yeah, can we go to the structural foundation plan?
Yeah, they might be.
Yeah.
And the discharge is +1 foot, so
They are on the architectural.
they're above the base flood elevation.
I think they're on that.
They're on the right.
That's okay.
So top right, you'll see that there's a circle with a pipe. It discharges out the front.
There's actually an existing sump pump there now.
Yeah.
That's where the location of the existing sump pump is. We will replace it with a new one, but
And those just discharge on grade?
Say again?
Do they discharge on grade?
They discharge right out of the wall, above base flood elevation.
So on grade.
Yes, above it.
Is there any, they have a riprap or a flow return requirement or anything like that?
There's no requirement. And then there's another discharge on the lower left corner.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Would anyone from the general public like to speak to this application? I see no one here. So I don't have any additional questions for you. Like Jeremy said, I think a lot of the analysis will be done at the building permit stage, which is outside of our review. So will anybody make a motion to close the application? George? Sure. George makes a motion. Jamie makes a second. All those in favor? Yep. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Application closed. Thank you. We will deliberate maybe tonight, maybe not. See how everybody's feeling. And that ends the public hearing. So now we will go into the general meeting. We closed 3 hearings tonight. Do we want to deliberate on any of them while we're here? It's only 8:30. We don't have much to do. I mean, I could easily see this one and Oakshade. That would be straightforward, and Leeuwarden was a little bit more complicated, but also not really. Not so impressive. So why don't we start with Leeuwarden? So starting off, the first one we saw tonight, 105 Leeuwarden Road. Pretty straightforward. Joe Canis reviewed it, there was some back and forth, his comments were addressed pretty straightforward, so I don't have any real issue or concern with it. There was no public comments about it from the neighbors or anything. Does anybody have any additional questions or concerns, anything they'd like staff to think about when potentially drafting a approval?
I was fine with it, particularly, Joe, clearly you can see the closed loop from Joe's questions were answered, check. It was a quick closed loop on that. The other question I had was with regards to, an ADU down the road that meets the accessory, with that one off record, that's, he was made aware of that. So.
I note that one of the findings that.
Yeah, the
discussion
application
of
was made
proposed
aware of that.
ADU, even though they're not adopted yet, just so that it's in the records, so they know it's
Yep.
100%.
It's
4 years
it's not
from now.
meeting what's proposed right
They
now.
go to ZBA, ZBA is exempt.
Yeah. I'm fine with this one here.
George?
Nothing.
Mike? Jamie, any further comments on this one? This one has, they're ripping up the old drainage plan and putting in an entire new one to different units. Pretty well thought out. He does a pretty good job. Yeah, so I direct staff to write up a positive approval. Yep. And we will vote on that probably next week, maybe April 9th.
Got it.
Okay. We'll skip over Shady, that's kept open. We'll skip over Highview, that's kept open. 18 Oakshade, which we just saw. That's a pretty straightforward application where they're just leveling out the backyard, adding some trees with screening. With this one, we did see positive comments from the neighbors, particularly the neighbor that's the most impacted by the downward sloping grade right now. I think it will definitely improve the drainage around there, which is something we'd like to see. So I didn't have any issue. The amount of trucks we estimate 10 to 15, I'd say 11, maybe it's 12, maybe it's not. Isn't really going to impact the road. It's not 200 trucks where we need to worry about any type of damage or neighbors or complaining. We want to see a construction schedule only because it's a tight neighborhood and it's a small lot. So we don't want to have 10 trucks queuing up on a road like that, right? That was certainly at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning when we go to school.
You can certainly put some kind of condition in to try to minimize the number of trucks.
Yeah, just because it's in a bigger area of town, it's not much of an issue, but that's certainly a tight spot, even though it's only 10 trucks. I imagine they're not all going to come in on the same day, but it's just something to be aware of.
You have to go for school buses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially in the beginning of the day. So that was it for me. Amy?
This one I am good. I'm totally good on this one.
All right. George? Good. Mike?
Landscape, do we care what they plan?
Trees?
And already made a commitment that they would put some trees there.
Trees.
So certainly, that's one thing, commitment to the number and deciduous.
Something, and do we do anything about guaranteed for the year or maintenance?
Yeah, we can do that, yeah.
We usually do one plant, 24 plantings a year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jamie? Okay, I get staff to write up another positive review on that, for sure. And then the last one, we might as well deliberate, what we just saw here, 24 Cherry, which is, as Mike mentioned, they do have a variance, they're still over the buildable lot coverage, but they are doing a number of improvements. They're getting rid of the illegal building. They're raising the last house on the street, which we always like to see in the flood zone because that will flood. Seems okay. I mean, to me, it seems like they're keeping that pool. So if the flood vents work, it's going to have a pool of water underneath it. I'm not sure how good those sumps are going to go, but they're So that would be a pretty big pool of water down there in a flood event versus just kind of a raise and a leveling of it where we just sort of flow underneath the house. It'll flow and then kind of collect. So it kind of acts as a mitigation of stormwater from the neighbors at their own detriment. I guess you're going to have a pond in their basement kind of thing. This is the first application, to my knowledge, we've seen some pumps without a generator since I've been here. So usually I know it's not a requirement, and I don't know where they would stick a generator because it is also a tight lot. But we should just put that at least in the findings that they're not putting a generator there, which is uncommon. Like I said, I don't think we've ever seen, especially one with 2 sump pumps in a place with no flood. In a flooding event, it's likely there's not going to be power, and it's going to be at least a coin toss, so those are probably not going to be running.
But at the end of the day, it's just fill up, go to flood event, so.
Yeah.
Sort of,
Right.
it's not like
They're not discharging anywhere but a foot outside of it, right, where it's going to potentially flow back in.
correct. In general, there's no requirement for even like a riprap or something like that.
Yeah, to minimize erosion, I'm going to take a look at that question. That's a good one.
I just think that there should be something.
Minimize erosion.
So we just slowly
Dig
dig itself out.
On this one, I read back through the ZBA application and records, and there was one neighbor that did voice some concerns about adverse impact to her property. So I would just like to make sure the abutters, she's not here tonight, I would like to make sure that the abutter notification was done properly. So I'd like to just double check that. That was all done timely because she was the neighbor at 26 Cherry Street.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that she did in fact get notice of the
She's on the list.
She's on the list, but did things get done timely? Did things get done in the right time? Is the question I have.
Thank you.
George?
No, I'll go.
Jamie? Okay, so check on that. Eventually draft the positive review. And then we'll just make a note too in the findings that the building review will deal with Joe Canis, so that review, not our area.
Things made to be,
Yeah, something, just so it's in the record that, that thing does happen down the road.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, great, so that will move on. So we've got the minutes from March 12th to go over. So I've read the minutes, I didn't see any typos or commas out of place that I can usually find. This is a pretty straightforward hearing. This was actually the one 2 weeks ago where I was not at, where we talked about the ADU permits, and we were in this room here. I did watch it on TV, so it was a nice debate. We actually saw a number of people from the public speak towards ADUs, which I think is the first time that happened, even though it was our 3rd ADU hearing, third, sort of take at it. So that was good and encouraging. We always like to see that, but I didn't note anything of note here about that. We had some deliberations on 7 Sedgwick. That seemed to be okay. And then we just approved some minutes, and we had some adjourned and legislature report, but it was pretty quick. It was mostly all the ADUs and then just 7 Sedgwick. So, does anybody have any issues they found? Scrivener's errors, typos, anything in the minutes?
Page 2.
Page 2.
Full paragraph 7. Oh, this is spell check. The word concern. It's Mr. Rolf Hogan was asked.
Oh, Mr. Dean, thank you.
Mr. Dean. Okay.
Again, purely spell check.
That's very suggestive.
Squiggly line.
Yeah, I don't know which word, to be honest with you. Okay, well, does anybody want to make a motion to approve as amended? Amy makes a motion. Mike makes a here. The next upcoming meeting we have is next Tuesday,
Next Tuesday,
April 2nd. What do we got?
we're going to start that meeting with an executive session at 7 p.m. in room 213 with town council to discuss pending litigation. So we've set aside about 30 or 40 minutes for that. And then we'll adjourn to a different room. Then we go down to room 119. We're going to talk about accessory dwelling units, what we want to do about those. We'll be deliberating on 7 Sedgwick as well. I think we're going to try to get a draft resolution in the packet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of kick that around.
The purple, former purple sheets? Or
No, I think we're going to actually have a full draft.
full draft, okay.
Full draft. And then maybe we'll get 1 or 2 of the ones tonight for next week as well.
Perfect. Okay, and then April 9 following that, we've got certainly 9 and 9 Shady and 29 Highview plus.
Plus, I think we're going to talk about a couple outdoor dining items that night. We'll decide a couple tonight. If we don't get to them next week, we'll get to them in 2 weeks. That is also the fallback night for 7 Sedgwick. If there is no consensus or a lot of changes next week, that'll be on tonight as well.
Okay. Any other business? All right. Anybody make a motion to adjourn? Mike makes a motion. Shannon makes a second. All those in favor? All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.